right.
Adam Meister, aka the BitcoinMeister, aka the Disrupt Meister, is a longtime Bitcoiner and content creator that knows that Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Adam believes that personal responsibility is the new counterculture, that fitting in is overrated. Adam Meister has strong hands and knows all about the deferral of gratification and how BTC bears the fruits of our frugality. Adam was on episode 68, Algorithm Slaves, Fascism, and Escaping to the Bitcoin Overlay. Pound that like button. Adam Meister, aka the BitcoinMeister, aka the Disrupt Meister. Welcome back to the Bitcoin Matrix podcast. How are you?
Well, Cedric, that was an awesome introduction, man. It had all my catchphrases in it. Pound that like button. Indeed, baby. I'm excited to be here, man. I love being on other people's shows. It's so much easier to do in your own show.
Fair enough. I know about the grind, man. Talking about the grind, what have you been up to for the last year or so?
Man, well, I haven't been making that many shows. I just been traveling around from one Airbnb to another. I bought a car, cheapest new car possible, a Nissan Versa, back in November when there were very few left, and just been going to small towns, seeing what this United States is all about. Bowling Green, Kentucky. I was there when they had a freaking tornado. I was in West Virginia. I've been Midland, Texas, Farmington, New Mexico, Salt Lake City. I've been to these smaller places, and I've got tips for people. I know where you should be. I've seen the freedom. I've seen the panic. I've seen the sadness. I've seen a lot of happiness. So I'm seeing the real world. I'm touching grass. And baby, I recommend it. Well, the entire 2 years I've been traveling around, obviously, but I really took it to another level here with this nonstop road trip. And the Versa is a great car. No one would ever know that I'm a Bitcoin guy when I'm driving the freaking 2021 Versa, and I like it that way.
Yeah, and when you're not in the car and you're in hanging out at the local Airbnb, what are you still running outside?
Oh, baby, 15 miles a week at least. And my 2 sprint days where I do my interval training, where I do 15 sprints as hard as possible, basically with 30 seconds in between each one. Yeah, so I'm still, I become a vegan also, and some people might be disappointed, but yeah, fitting in is overrated. Some people say that, you're a Bitcoiner, you must be a meat guy. Nah, I don't care. I'm a unique beast. Coin beast, unique beast. Oh, and I've also been hosting Bitcoin Day is a group. They put on some smaller events in some second-tier cities, third-tier cities, like Charlotte, no offense to Charlotte, or Oklahoma City. And I've been the MC at these events, just meeting real people and just trying to, those are hardcore Bitcoin events. They only talk about Bitcoin there. And I like spreading the Bitcoin word. So, when people come up with some creative ideas for me, I'll do it. I'll do the shows. Every time I raise $100 through whatever means possible, I'll do a show. And people have been very generous that way. And of course, I was at the Miami, the Bitcoin conference, Bitcoin 2021. And up until then, I was doing a show every week to promote that because I had a package deal with them. But yeah, so that was fun to be in Miami. I spent a month in Miami, which is a great city to be in. And the cost of living is going up there because lots of people are moving there. But the event was very good. Much more, Bitcoin 2022 was this year, excuse me, was much more professionally put on than Bitcoin 2021. I think everyone will agree. So yeah, I went to Tone Vays's event in Las Vegas. That was barrels of fun too, of course. So yeah, it's always an adventure, and that's what I love about life. I don't know what's going to be exactly next. I know where I'm going next. I'm actually going to go to Fairbanks, Alaska. I'm not driving there, but yeah, it's one big adventure in the Bitcoin overlay, and yeah, fitting in is I haven't given in to anything. Became a vegan back February 1st. Haven't had a bit of animals since then, so it's been a lot of fun.
Yep. When you're up in a place like Alaska, do you get in touch or meet with other local Bitcoiners or go to a Bitcoin event? Is everywhere you're going Bitcoin driven, or sometimes you just wander and see other things and do other things?
None of it's really
Period.
big. The only time it's Bitcoin driven was when Bitcoin Day was flying me out to places and stuff. I wanted to see. I am curious about these cities. I am curious about Fairbanks, Alaska. I was very curious about Farmington, New Mexico. You see why are the houses cheap here? What's going on? But people, to the point that people actually have listening comprehension to my show. Most people like to look at my hair and stuff when they're watching my show. They don't learn a thing. They're like, "Have you been vaccinated?" I mean, people still ask me, "Have you been vaccinated?" I mean, you can't. You don't know who I am, dude. I mean, you ask a question like that. Come on. Have I been vaccinated? I mean, have I converted to Christianity? Is like a similar question. I mean, are you crazy? No. So I forgot what was I darn saying there?
Going across the country,
seeing life and not fitting in. Definitely continuing to do my own thing, and I go where I'm personally interested in. I go, what I want to see, what's out there and stuff. But no. When I say hanging out with people, you asked, do I hang out with Bitcoiners in these cities? Well, to the extent that they pay attention to where I'm going, some people have contacted me and like, "Oh, you're going to be here. I want to meet you." So yeah, but I don't. Bitcoin Day, I went to those things because they were having those events. But I don't. And in Miami, I went there because they were having that event. But I don't go specifically. I mean, someone said we're going to have a meetup. You're going to be the guest of honor. Yeah, I'll come and whatever. But I don't seek out Bitcoin people anymore in these cities. And during my travels in the old days, I did a little bit more. I did. I really don't. What I do want to say, and I've said a couple times on my show, in Miami in 2021, I was running and I was recognized on the street by a random person as the BitcoinMeister. And just now in Boise, it was in June in Boise, I was in front of the Albertsons, and a guy came up to me. He's like, "Adam, BitcoinMeister." So I mean, that's a good sign when you just in a random city, random time, random place, and people recognize you. I mean, when I go to events, I'm very, very recognized. But I'm just talking like in front of the freaking Albertsons in Boise, getting recognized as a BitcoinMeister. It's flattering. It's very flattering. I think it's good. I think it's bullish for Bitcoin too. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think everything's bullish for Bitcoin. I'm kind of wondering over the last year or so with all your travels. I've traveled a lot over the last year, and I wonder what you've been seeing in America, small town, big city, whatever it is. And the two issues I'll throw out there are, and we talked about this a little bit before about the cowboy spirit of America, but right now, very big part of sort of the national conversation is debt forgiveness.
The bailout, yeah.
So how do you see what's going on in America right now? What do you, when you talk to people, what are you gleaming?
Well, there's the luxury beliefs out there. Some people are, we live in a society where people complain about everything, but it's the greatest, most luxurious, comfortable society of all time. It's the greatest time to be alive. But people love to catastrophize. That is an addiction. And this is generated online. Everything is the worst ever, the worst president ever, the worst climate ever, the worst this ever. There's no perspective anymore. And people in order to gain online clout, it's valuable to people. People like online clout. So they display their luxury beliefs, things that even hurt them, they'll talk about and promote. Like, if my child wants to do this to themselves, cut something off, it'll be all right. Yeah. And they might not really mean it, but they'll support that cause, that an 11-year-old is smart enough to decide what to cut off and to do horrifying things. When you talk to people one-on-one in most of the country, stuff like that doesn't come up. But you see luxury beliefs displayed in signage on yards in cities which have very few minorities. Salt Lake City is a beautiful town. I love it. People make generalizations about it. Are scared. Oh, there are Mormons there. Oh, it must be scary. It must be very conservative. No, I don't see any when I was in Salt Lake City, you don't see any Mormon traces of. You see a few Mormon churches, if you want to go to the touristy, sure. But what you do see is beautiful yards. And many of the people, University of Utah is based there, so it's a college town too. So you're going to have that attitude, that woke attitude. But man, do they have more Black Lives Matter signs than anywhere, any other big city I've been in, or major city. Okay. And at the same time, usually when I'm in there for a month, I average seeing 25 Black people in the street. Now, so the woke attitudes, all these signs, Black Lives Matter, Black trans lives matter. It's very easy to display this stuff, in these very comfortable towns. It's a luxury belief, and they are willing to, they love victims. There is just a group of Americans out there that are guilty and think that the world is falling apart. And if you can somehow prove you're a victim, show you're a victim in any way, you're their hero. They're going to bow down to them. And well, through signs at least, and online. So physically, like Salt Lake City, lots of that, and at Boise, there were a lot of signs also, not as much as Salt Lake City. I mean, but it is funny that there is a part of the woke crowd, and I think some people in Salt Lake City really appreciate this. There's probably a lot of Californians that just they would move to Salt Lake City. Because a lot of people are moving out of California in these cities that I've been in. Oh, you see a lot of California license plates. I'll tell you that. Boise. I'm in Bend, Oregon right now. There are a lot here too. But the complete misconception about Salt Lake City being this Mormon town, I think protects it from having cost of living going up is more than it would have. It keeps some California people are just so naive about how the real world works. Like, no, Salt Lake City is as woke as you dudes, man. I mean, well, on a certain level, yes. Governmentally, it hasn't completely sold out and started taxing and destroying the citizens yet. But so on the federal level, definitely the woke crowd, the centralization crowd, the forgiveness crowd, the victimization crowd, it's in charge of the federal administration. There's no doubt about it that they and the federal administration about centralization of power too, and continuing. And there are plenty of people in America that want a king. That's what we're realizing, and people on the left and the right. And this is something that I think we have to admit right now. And so no one has a problem that, all right, so the king is senile. As long as, he believes in, this, he's going to take care of the victims. It's the worst climate ever. We're in the middle of a catastrophe. Everything is the worst ever. So this administration knows that they're as panic-stricken as we are. Now, not everybody is a panic-stricken, screaming Karen, but there's plenty of it. There's plenty of it on display. There's plenty of ways to display your screaming Karenism through your signs, through your through how you portray yourself in social media, jumping on to every single solitary luxury belief that is out there. So I mean, for me, Bitcoin and being a unique beast. But my philosophy is. Is a decentralized? I forgot what my entire term is. Oh my God! A confident decentralist. I am a confident decentralist. All right. So I understand that there's I don't know, maybe the majority of Americans want a centralization of power and a king, but as long as I can still do what I want to do in Florida, do what I want to do in Wyoming. And yeah, I visited Cheyenne. I didn't see any sign of Bitcoin at all, by the way. I was there for 7 days, didn't see anything Bitcoin. Everyone's like, oh, Wyoming's the greatest Bitcoin state in the world. It's going to save the world. I mean, they've got a framework set up. If you're going to set up a business there, I think it's great. But no, I didn't see any. I mean, in the newspaper one day, there was an article on the front of the paper. But other than that, it is beautiful in Cheyenne. It's windy. But again, going back to true decentralization, if you really believe in Bitcoin, there can be Ethereum, there can be this, there could be that, and you're not threatened. You're confident. You're confident in it. Okay. And same thing in the United States of America right now. On the federal level, things are trending towards centralization. At the same time, a lot of people are like, the country is tearing apart. The country is tearing apart, and we need to put it back. Left and right are saying the country is being torn apart, and you can look at it that way. You can look at the United States as being torn apart right now. It's ripping apart. It's going in different directions. If you believe that the United States should be one nation, that the whole nation should believe in one thing, have one leader, have one way of doing things, that's not what this country was founded on. It was 13 separate colonies. They were all founded at different times, and they came to agreement that they would protect each other's butts, okay? You know, our flag should just have a nuclear weapon on it, okay? A picture of a nuke. That is what I like to be centralized under, okay? If China ever wanted to come and nuke, Wyoming or Florida, we're all in this. That we're in together. We've got an agreement where they're not going to do that because we got the nukes, we got the best weapons, we got the best army. That's taking care of us. Defense, okay? Everything else, we don't need a culture dictated from on top, okay? There's 50 different cultures. There's more than 50 different cultures here, okay? And we've still got that system. So we are decentralized. I'm a positive man. I'm a very positive man. So I'm not saying we're ripping apart. We're just decentralizing more. So I don't like what New York's doing. I don't like what Maryland's doing. I am from Baltimore, as you know. I have spent 3 days there this year. And I'm going to go back for Rosh Hashanah. It'll be, what, 4 more days, okay? That's like a record for me of, like, fewest days in the state of Maryland. It's, you know, I saw my family. I took my family to Disney World, actually. I forgot to mention that. That was disappointing because people don't work hard there anymore. It's completely fallen apart. This is a lot of people feel very entitled right now. Because if they don't have to work, the government will pay them, take care of their student loans or whatever. So, you say, I got a job at Disney, I don't have to work hard anymore. And they don't even try to hire good people anymore. But I mean, it's crazy. The middle class is, there's very little incentive. Many people think there's no incentive anymore to move up. If you're a middle class person, you work hard now, it's so easy. But it's much easier because the competition is going away. But very few people have that pioneer and cowboy spirit anymore. But let me tell you, the true pioneers of today don't let this woke nonsense get in your way. Don't worry about it being coming from the Fed. Yes, it is coming from the federal level. The federal level very much represents what's going on in California, Maryland, and New York. But you don't have to be there. You can go to Florida. It's different in Florida. They do have the governor there is leading the state in a different direction. But there's more than the life than just government. Most people, their biggest association now, and this is another weakness of the current way, is government is the end all. That's it. That is the association. There's many different associations you have in life. I mean, there's who you hang out with at the bar, who you play sports with, what sports team you like. I mean, all sorts of things. What state you're in, but so you don't have to. Your business associations and stuff. You don't have to let the government. You don't have to be a slave to the government on every single level here. There's so many people that think the government should be the highest of the high. That is the highest of the high. Everything is subservient to all your other relations are subservient to the government. The government tells you how to take care of yourself medically. That is the end all, the be all in terms of medicine. People need to truly decentralize. So I hope that the 20%ers out there will realize that, no, we're not splitting apart. We're just decentralizing. And you find a place where you're comfortable in this already very nice decentralized system that is out there. And if the states have to nullify laws eventually, then the states have to nullify laws. We haven't gotten there yet. I've said for years that maybe one day Texas, a few years in Texas and Florida, if there ever becomes some Elizabeth Warren wealth tax on Bitcoiners, that they'll just say, well, here, no, you're free. You're free to do it here. We're going to nullify it. We haven't gotten there yet. And I think the concept of nullification totally gets rid of the there should always be the threat of secession, but we'll never get, some people, again, it's catastrophizing. We're on the verge of secession. No, we're not. There are many, states can nullify laws before we get to secession. I think nullification is something viewers of mine had told me about. I never really explored before. So online, I'm exploring a lot of Southern history and stuff like that. There's a guy named Brian McClanahan out there that's I like to listen to, but it's very weird. They have a decentralized mentality. And the original, going out west originally was very decentralized too. It's the Northeast that yearns for this incredible power over the rest of the and California and the West Coast. They hand in hand, they want there to be one culture, really, and it's kind of disgusting. But hey, they're free to, compete, don't complain. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to move. I'm not going to hang out in these places where it's very obvious that there's a mandate from above and they worship from above. And in Maryland, it is sickening. I mean, private institutions are still like, the only way you can come here, the only way your 2-year-old kid can come here is he's vaccinated. I mean, because some old 80-year-old man said so, who's retiring now. I mean, this is insane. Freedom of association, dudes. That is something that Bitcoin is about that I've learned recently too. And the federal government, like it or not, has over the years cut down on freedom of association. You can't, I'm a Jewish guy, people know. You're not allowed to say, no, you can't come into my place because you're Jewish. They should be allowed to say that. They should be able to ban me. They should have the force to be associated with me. Why should some guy who hates me, why should I be giving money to some guy that hates me? I want to know that he hates me, so I don't give him money and stuff. But we've gotten into this culture where freedom of association is the worst freedom possible. And that is part of woke culture today, okay? And if someone's a victim, you must be subservient to them. You must do business with them. Why? Well, what was free? And that is the glory of Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you can associate with anybody in the world. You could send it to Iran. I don't like Iran at all. I don't like people who think Iran's cool. But I understand that they should have the right to associate. Maybe why should I be able to stop them? Why should I be able to stop them? I'm not crypto mommy out there. I don't want to be somebody's mommy. Whoa, screaming Karen mommy. I'm a man. Come on now, dudes. What happened? But it's freedom of association is something that is been totally left by the wayside. But we're relearning it through Bitcoin and through being what decentralization is really about. So these are things, topics that I'm exploring lately: freedom of association, true decentralization, stuff like that. And when I'm walking, when I'm running, these are things I think about. When I take my deadly cold shower, one cold shower a day, people, it wakes you up, baby. Pound that like button for that. Woo!
How long have you been taking cold showers? Is that something to get used to?
I've been doing it for about 3 years. It's just something that's.
Do you ever take hot showers or comforting showers?
Not anymore.
Never.
Not anymore now. No, the thing is, Miami and Tel Aviv, the cold water would be kind of warmish. Not that I can go to Tel Aviv anymore, but I can still go to Miami. A disgrace that Israel of all countries, mandated that medical experiments be done on their people. A disgrace. And I love Israel, but I mean, I don't love. I learned a lot. I mean, I can't get stuck there under such tyranny if it happens again. All the Israelis from the Tel Aviv Bitcoin embassy, it's over, Adam. Everything's back to normal. I'm like, dude, I can't. You weren't letting anybody in the country for a while. I can't get stuck there. That's the beauty. And I think I said this on the last show. The best country to be in during this whole virus situation has been the United States of America. You don't like what's going on in Baltimore and New York City, and people just overly panicked in New York City. You don't like that they have these, you got to show some ID to get in a place, then you go to Miami. And one thing you know about Miami is, whoa, you hear the Boston accents there, you hear the New York accents there, and they just, you hear more and more of them, because but some of them are still, they're still displaying their luxury beliefs online. They still can't give it up in Twitter land, but they don't admit that they moved down there physically and everything. There's a lot of hypocrites out there. Hey, but let them be hypocrites. It's not my business. Let them do what they're going to do. But when it gets personal is when they say, no, you can't say that. or you can't do that, or you're a criminal because you're a Bitcoiner. But what I don't, something that I do comment on is like in our space, in the Bitcoin space, in the cryptocurrency space, when people start saying, no, you can't do this, or you can't hang out with people, then they don't truly understand. They're against freedom of association, which saddens me. But at the same time, during the virus, when the virus started, I saw about 20% of Bitcoiners completely panic and lose their mind and become, screaming for the government to protect them. And I was in total shock. So should it be a shock that there are a lot of Bitcoiners out there that don't grasp the freedom of association? No, it's not a total shock. No one is perfect here. But for me, I'll say the word Ethereum. I don't have a problem with saying the word Ethereum. I don't have a problem with saying that the Ethereum, what's about to happen, Ethereum 2.0, or whatever you want to call it, when they're shifting over to proof of stake, that this could be a very good thing for Bitcoin. I think the pumping of the price of Ethereum is good for Bitcoin. It brings attention to Bitcoin. I have no problem with what they're doing anymore. I think that Bitcoin is going to be the only proof of work out there, or big proof of work out there. It's going to be great. It's going to be a way to differentiate for the people who understand. And capito caplet. Let's see what. And I do understand that the social attack is going to come. The ESG attack is going to come. It was going to come no matter what. But to wish failure from the Ethereum side, there are plenty of Ethereum people like Bitcoin. Okay, but there are plenty of bad actors out there that are going to once it switches over in September. The social attacks on Bitcoin, there'll be some big ones from Ethereum people who are going to say Bitcoin is destroying the environment because, of course, we're living in the worst environment ever. The world's about to end. It's a catastrophe. Everything's a catastrophe. Bitcoin's a catastrophe. But here, something that for the people that want the SEC on Ethereum, or for the people who want the Ethereum merge to fail, let me tell you something. If the Ethereum thing fails, okay, if the merge if it just blows up, there's no Ethereum anymore. I mean, there's going to be some Bitcoiners be like, yeah, it's the greatest thing ever. It's the second largest cryptocurrency out there, okay? There are plenty of mainstream people. They love cryptocurrency, but they, to look like they're smart, to look like they're like, yeah, I own some Bitcoin and some Ethereum. Okay, so if Ethereum disappeared, something horrifying happened to it, what you would have is our, crypto nanny government here, screaming Karens. It would give Elizabeth Warren the ultimate power. The ultimate power grab would immediately come. She would say, look what happened. The second biggest cryptocurrency just exploded. Bitcoin is in trouble. I am going to regulate this. I am making this a major plank. I'm announcing my presidency today, in fact. She'll say, my run for presidency today. This could be something such a huge club against Bitcoin if Ethereum were to fail in the manner that some people fantasize about that. So again, capito complaint, let them compete. I'm not about destruction. There's so many people that are always about, let's destroy. It's a war. No, nothing needs to be destroyed. Ethereum doesn't need to be destroyed. If Ethereum is destroyed, it's going to boomerang real bad back on us, on Bitcoin people. It really is. I'm telling you, everyone think, do some simple thinking here. Ethereum fails. What will Elizabeth Warren do? What is she going to be tweeting about then? And all the people like her, all these crypto skeptics, what do they got? They're not going to be talking about Ethereum anymore. That'll be a thing of the past. What are they going to be talking about? They're going to be talking about all a straight. Right now, Bitcoin has so many shields for this DeFi, these NFTs, Ethereum, whatever. Everything is a shield for Bitcoin right now. But you get rid of the biggest, the number two, they're going to forget about these shields and just go straight for the real thing, baby. So people, you can say what you want to say, believe what you're going to believe, but I'm just giving you that little bit tidbit of information. Maybe that'll change some minds out there. Also, everything that's in the Twitter space, we really do overblow it. Okay, most people in retail, they have no idea what's going on in the Twitter space. That Bitcoiners are toxic. They have no idea. They don't know. They're just buying whatever they're buying. They buy what Ben Shapiro said to buy. They don't know that Bitcoiners are toxic. There's so many people in the crypto, in the Twitter space, that are like, since Bitcoiners are so toxic, it's clearly losing momentum. This is nonsense. This is these big funds. They care about that if Udi is toxic or if Nick Carter is toxic or who's toxic. Bitcoin Magazine is toxic. They don't know those things. They don't know the first thing about what those things even are. So we put a lot of into these guys. We put these guys on pedestals in the space. I think a lot of them, they care way too much about online clout. I think people have got to really remove themselves from this desire from online clout. But like I said at the beginning of the show, it's in society today at all, online clout is just very important, especially if you're not wealthy. It is a way to display your power, your beliefs. Whatever. It's not real. It's a lot of noise. You're much better learning about Bitcoin than worrying about how many people retweeted you and how controversial you were.
Yeah, it was a lot there. I like, compete, not complain. So I do want to see Bitcoin outcompete Ethereum on the merits of hard money. Yeah. I do think of Ethereum as an illegal security, and I think people are allowed to do whatever they want in the marketplace. But I do think, and I'm not trying to say Ethereum has done this per se, but I think scams should be prosecuted. I think there should be consequences to crimes, and I think that I think that ecosystem, crypto, has a lot of things that are not just scams that people get roped in, but are outright frauds and different things like that to a certain degree. And I'm not saying every single thing there is run as a scam, but I think that crypto also in and of itself is a huge attack vector on Bitcoin. And I think it's, to be honest, I think it's state sponsored, and I think they win either way. So if, Ethereum does well, they can promote Ethereum and the benefits to sort of fintech and getting whatever there, and maybe surveillance. But also if it fails, then they could also promote it as a huge failure, and that's a reflection on Bitcoin. So I see that they kind of I think they let these scams go on purpose, because there's a grift, insiders might benefit, and they could also kind of point to the scams in the space instead of preventing them or even policing them. So I just think I don't want to get put in a position where it's like, oh, Bitcoin can't win, because I think none of this actually affects Bitcoin, the protocol. So win, lose, or draw on all these issues, Bitcoin is still the next Bitcoin, and the only thing that matters. So fortunately, I don't really have to go down these rabbit holes, and I don't have to put a lot of brain power into them. But I do find them sort of offensive at their core. I'm not saying I'm going to stand on a corner with a sign and be like, don't buy this, or, I try to stay out of those fights, but I try to warn my friends and family, like, hey, you can go gamble at the casino, but if you want to find a store of value in savings technology, stick to the only thing that can do that. And I don't like to see people get caught up in these sort of narratives.
Well, I think you bring up some very interesting points right there. Yes, of course, warn your friends if you think something is going to wreck them. Of course, tell them not to get into altcoins. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. It definitely is. It is the soundest money out there. But Ethereum is not trying to be what Bitcoin is. Now, some people are trying to say argue against that. So, it's already changed in the past. Bitcoin is never changing. Okay, Ethereum has already changed. I mean, it's not. You never know, and it's going to change again. There's Ethereum, there is no Bitcoin 2.0. There's never going to be a Bitcoin. It is what it is. Ethereum's a totally different beast. It's for the Silicon Valley type of mentality that they want a centralized leader to keep on changing it. All right, and it will evolve. But Ethereum, if you value your wealth in Ethereum, you're going to get yield from Ethereum. You're going to get more yield. Now you're going to get yield. Bitcoin doesn't produce yield on its own. It is, but that's a good thing. Bitcoin is just preserving your wealth. That, for me, that some people are like, that's boring. No. That's not boring, dude. That's a fundamental something that makes sense. I mean, you have fun staying poor if you can't preserve your wealth. All right, But there's some people that are, and it's the majority of people. We just had a major crash in it. Most of it was a lot of it was brought on for people's insane desire for yield. They were putting Bitcoin at third parties, putting stable coins at third parties. Oh yeah, of course, they're going to keep on paying 9%, 9%. I mean, it's never going to end. These people aren't going to learn. You should tell people, dude, if it's a 9% yield, there's something not kosher back there, okay? But no one believed. Oh no, it's Luna's not falling apart. It's magic. It's this. It's that. And it's good to warn people about that. But the desire for yield is never ending. Thus, Ethereum has a market that's out there. All right, it is going into the yield business now. So if you think Ethereum is valuable, you stake your yield through Coinbase, and we'll talk about. I hope we can talk about Brian, something about Brian a little bit later on. But yeah, you say, and they're going to give you more Ethereum. You're going to get every month. You're going to get some more Ethereum thanks to this magical Ethereum thing. People want yield. So, is it an illegal security as defined by the federal government? It probably is. But since the federal government is, they pick winners and losers. It's kind
of grandfathered in. I agree.
Yeah. They picked. It's a winner. That's a fascist style of government. But of course, most people want a king. Most people want to be led by one leader that decides on a whim and on connections and everything. That's what fascism is about. It's private industry, but you favor certain private industries. And then you get some kickbacks, they get some kickbacks, whatever. So for some reason, Ethereum got in there and is defined as it's good. They're going to say no, it's not. It is already Gensler and everybody already said it's not. But if you look purely at the definition, but I am one step away. I don't care about the definition. I don't care about what the federal government defines as illegal and legal securities. I'm way beyond that. Okay, again, decentralization. Maybe if it comes to it. I think it would be great if the United States government did say, well, okay, I don't think it'd be great if the United States government said, hey, Ethereum is a security, we're going to arrest everybody. I think if that happened, though, if Wyoming said, no, states' rights, it's not security here, come to Wyoming. You can have Ethereum in Wyoming, even though the government says, I would think that would be a good thing, because it would show that, God forbid, if something like that were to ever happen to me, something that I held, Bitcoin, it was ever declared as illegality, that a state could step up and do that. So again, you're the people who go to the, I think there's a weakness in the argument that it's a federally defined security, because you're giving too much power. You're making it the highest association. The federal government is the highest of the high. Why not? Why is the state government equal to the federal government? What's that? Why not? Why not? I mean,
I'll give you a reason. They can't print money, right? They can't print money, and so it's not a fair fight.
That is a great point in terms of physical power, right there. But in terms of theoretical power and power to control ideas, I mean, that is a. But hey, a state could say to itself, no, we're going to print money now. We're getting there'd be some problems. I mean, when it comes down to it, again, on the argument of state versus federal power, if a state tries to say, no, we are as powerful as the federal government, it'll come down to this. Will the young men of America be willing to go to war against the state that does it? Will they be, the members of the United States Army, will they be willing to invade Wyoming? I mean, I actually put it out. I put out a tweet once, and again, it's not a scientific poll, but would you send your daughters or sons or yourself to war to stop a state from seceding from the United States? No one said yes. No one said yes. But at the same time, I'm a realist. There are these people that worship the government like it is like it's a religion, and they maybe would be willing to send their sons and daughters to invade Wyoming and start shooting citizens. I don't know, but that's where it comes down to when we talk about state versus federal power. But I'm trying to get it in people's heads right now in terms of true decentralization, is that there is no association that is higher than another, that is more important than another. And so the state association, Wyoming is just as important as what the federal government says. So yeah, I don't believe in these. But yeah, I mean, it does come down to force and who's got the guns in the end of the day, which is really disgusting and sickening. But hey, we're not there yet.